Hello, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all, and that is not something I wanted to see on my draft screen at the moment. Errors abound. What is with that? Lol PBUI. Great tool. Unfortunately, decided to error out the second that we transitioned to it, but regardless, welcome everyone to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Week 6 matchup between Google working from home and Amazon stock Diff. My name is PhiNick, joined on the desk today by the lovely Thousand Eyes, and how are we feeling going into this series? Both these teams currently undefeated, and both of whom are former champions.
Yeah, this is a matchup of titans right now. Both teams looking really good. Both teams have very strong players individually when looking at rank. This is probably one of the closer games that we're going to have this split.
Yeah, for sure. Especially considering both these teams are kind of favorites to end up first and second seed going into playoffs. We are into the second Swiss system, so at the moment, 6 teams in this Swiss to determine seeding for the start of playoffs. These two teams, both undefeated in the regular season, as we said. Google, coming off of a CEA Grand Championship last split as Amazon stock Diff, has won the 2 previous ones. So I'm looking forward to see what these teams throw out, especially because back in Season 1 of CEA, the top laner currently playing for Google, named Mega Zero, was on the Amazon team, so team's got a little bit of history.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a little bit of rivalry built into this already. Just even before you talk about just how close these teams are. But like what's really interesting though is there's a strong difference in what these teams kind of play like. You know, you have Google who plays a little bit more of a scaling kind of team comp generally, where Amazon plays a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more lane focused. So that just mismatch in style is going to clash really hard, and I think it's going to cause some really kind of pop off moments, some explosive skirmishes in the early to mid portions of these games.
Yeah, and these explosive skirmishes, speaking of explosive jungle picks, Set gonna be a contested pick this series between Vizera and Scanlong. Both of those junglers have played quite a bit of Set in solo queue and ranked flex, but there are other interesting picks potentially coming out from both these teams.
Yeah, Google kind of just puts champions everywhere. They've got Maokai, which they flex top and support. They've got Vigar, which they flex mid and support. They have Lulu, which they flex top and support. There's just a lot of flex picks that Google kind of just throws around everywhere. They've also gone some like really weird kind of compositions. They'll take the Lulu and then try and mix Kog'Maw in with it, even if it's just like Lulu top in some instances. There's a lot of weird things that Google wants to do, and then Amazon will just kind of like play really aggressive, really aggro types of champs like Renekton, like LeBlanc, Misfortune. There's like a lot of just aggro, we're gonna jump on you and just beat you up types of champions.
And the first ban of the night gonna be Urgot. It's actually at the afternoon, but you know what? For folks in the European Union, it is night, so I'm gonna go with that one. This Urgot ban, totally towards Counter-Strike, his most played champion by far. Yes. Mega Zero doesn't really play much that's countered by it, but just getting him off comfort is very important. We see top lane bans as well in this I almost said Lulu in the Shen and in the Poppy, while we see Olaf Ashe being banned away. So most likely no Jhin pickup from Pyro if he's going to ban away that Ashe. So we'll see what they decide to play in the bot lane as we see Kled ban as well. That's a Mega Zero one that he does play against counter matchups, and it's the set first pick, most likely going into the jungle, although it could be played top lane.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how many just top lane bans they put in here. Just 3 all bans going to the top lane, and Mega Zero still has the opportunity to play the Ornn, just in response to anything Counter-Strike would want to pick here. Like you said, that set more than likely going into the jungle. Fiddlesticks has not shown any support set. Mega Zero has also not really played any top lane set, and it's going to be the Jhin picked up actually for Amazon here.
Yeah, here's something right about Jhin. So Worlds patch, best AD carry, 1020, still the best AD carry. They haven't hit him with nerfs yet. I love this pick. I love seeing him in professional play. We've seen some very, very great Jhin play at Worlds. Let's see if this Amazon AD carry in Muji is able to bring that type of aggressive Jhin to the table as we see Vizera pick up the Hecarim.
Yeah, and that once again matches exactly what Amazon likes to do. It is the aggro early game type of champion that's just so aggressive. And there is the Lulu. This is a flex pick. They can send that to the top lane, or they can just hold on to it and see what goes up against what goes on in the top lane and see if they actually want to send it up there. Works well with the Jinx no matter where it's going. So works really well, all things considered.
Yeah, no matter what they decide to pick in the support role, it will be the Jhin Nautilus in that bottom lane for this Amazon stock diff squad. Once again, Worlds meta, super prevalent bot lane combination, no surprises there. This Jinx, not something we see a lot of at Worlds, but in the similar vein to the Kog'Maw, to Caitlyn, to Tristana, has a very strong late game, and especially when it gets those late game team fights, once you have the Runon's Hurricane alongside the rockets from the Jinx, you're just doing massive amounts of damage late, more than the Jhin will do over time. However, this Jhin early to mid game, still very scary.
Ooh, and the Annie coming through. That is the one we have seen Ashes play a lot of recently. And especially considering that Ashes is kind of in a spot where he is playing up against somebody that is individually a lot stronger than him when you're looking just at ranks. So kind of forcing him off of those comfort champions and those kind of easier to execute champions. I don't want to talk about that hover because I don't think it's going to come through.
No, I don't want to talk about that one either. Please, no.
There we go. So
no,
Galio,
my least favorite blind pick in all of mid lane.
You always hate it, and then half the time it wins anyway.
Yeah, but look at this Veigar pick. It's just a counter. It's a straight up counter. I'm gonna cry. Maokai's also a flex pick, so we actually don't know where the Lulu and Maokai are going. Most likely it's gonna be Lulu support with Maokai top.
No, I think it's actually gonna be most likely Lulu top Maokai support, because Fiddlesticks plays the support Maokai a lot, and Mega Zero has not played a lot of Maokai top.
Oh.
My gut says that this is Lulu top and Maokai support.
If it is Lulu top, this Camille pickup could be a little bit scary. And we'll be Camille.
Yeah, and that will be, and fitting right in with what we said at the start here, the scaling composition from Google and the aggro aggressive fight and beat you up composition from Amazon here. Every lane in Amazon is looking to just dive on and just do a bunch of damage onto people. I think the exception to that is the Galio. He will be just trying to scale up and then come in to other lanes with his ultimate. But with a Hecarim, with a Camille Galio is obviously nuts. You just ult the opposing player on the Camille, and Galio flies in and messes them up real good.
And the one thing I was going to point out before they picked up the Camille pick is that this comp into the late game doesn't really have too much in the way of sustained damage, and unfortunately, Pyro left the lobby. Mid lane DC'd, so they couldn't swap, so they're going to have to reset. So technical difficulties abound. Welcome to North American Amateur League of Legends. But that being said, we kind of... When we see the Jhin, right, he does scale well in a late game, but he still is a burst AD carry, and when you have this beefy front line that comes out of this Google comp, you're not really going to be able to chew through that, but the Camille does take care of that, has true damage on the Q, will be grabbing percent health damage with the Blade of the Ruined King as well, and scales super well into the late game, which is something that you need if you pick up a Galio in your comp, who, when you play him, will end up falling off in damage around that 20-minute mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I think really what's gonna be interesting about this is just this Jinx pickup. It is kind of the crux of that team composition there. You know, even the Vigar is creating space for this Jinx to be able to move up and move back depending on how these team fights go. The Cage is obviously a huge pickup. And this Maokai, the Lulu, it's all about protecting this Jinx in the bot lane here. And if that Jinx starts falling behind early on against a Jhin and a Nautilus, you're just kind of going to keep dying, and that team composition will start to fall apart very quickly.
Especially with an Galio in the mid lane. That said, right, Veigar Cage is a counter to Galio in lane, but if this Galio is playing like a lot of professional Galios and takes Predator, then, which is something that I don't recommend Plat and Below do, but this is a full diamond comp, so, you know, that is, you know, what a lot of people will do here. They end up getting early lane pressure, or not early lane pressure, they end up getting early side lane pressure on level 4 instead of on level 6, and you see Galio no longer being like a lane kingdom type of champion that turns lane pressure into roams. He just roams on the Predator. That said, Kaze has only played Aftershock Galio, which is the lane version of that champion, in solo and flex queues in recent memory, and that's something that you have to be very concerned about when going up into this Veigar counter pick.
Yeah, it is not a fun lane matchup at all. But that said, there is the Hecarim in the jungle here, and that is a lot of early game gank pressure, a lot of damage coming through. And if Hecarim is coming from the opposite side of the lane, you can't put the cage in a way that's going to protect Vigar from both sides. He's gonna, if he puts the cage on himself as Hecarim and Galio show up, that is, he's going to have to walk through one of them, and it's going to end poorly for him. So there is opportunity there to punish that Vigar. It is just going to be on Kaze to really make something happen there.
Yeah, and we still are having lobby issues here, so everyone's going to have to leave and then rejoin with the tournament code here just because, you know, weirdness happened. And then hopefully we'll be able to get stuff fixed as... we get that done. So everyone's got to depopulate the lobby. Sorry for the delays, guys. But, you know, outside of the draft, we can talk a little bit more about these teams and specifically the charities. Remember, they are playing for charities. Winner of the tournament gets $5,000 towards their charity of choice. And when we look at the two teams, we have two very worthy charities. Amazon is supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and that is because the team captain has had a direct positive impact on his extended family through that charity. Obviously, St. Jude does help families in need, specifically those who can't necessarily pay for treatment of their children with very life-threatening illnesses, and they're able to get treatment at St. Jude's because of their model and how they make it so that you don't have to pay to be there. You are able to get treatment for your child at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, even if, you know, you are in an unfortunate circumstance there. That's really admirable. Meanwhile, Google, they're going to be supporting the NAACP, which is Legal Defense and Education Fund. It is a legal organization for racial equality and justice, and they did this because they wanted to support the Black Lives Matter movement, which is very admirable of them. In fact, they've been attending protests recently and helping out local communities, and they want to ensure they pick the right charity for that cause. We are getting back into the lobby here, and we can start talking about the draft a little bit more. So let's go back into this thought. We talked about the mid lane matchup quite a bit. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about the spot lane matchup. I know you were saying Jinx, if she gets behind, will end up staying behind here. Maybe you can elaborate more on that one.
Yeah, so the Jhin and Nautilus is just a very aggro lane matchup. They can Jhin can obviously set up Nautilus very well, and Nautilus's engage will allow Jhin to follow up with a root and then be able to kind of just follow up on any kind of an engage. And Lulu, especially early on, can only protect so much. So it's very weak early on, and with Jin's percent health damage on his fourth shot, there's a lot of opportunities there for, if not a kill to come onto the Jinx, at the very least, a lot of zoning that can come through. Lulu and Jinx are not going to be able to put enough damage on that Nautilus to push him back off and make him scared. It's going to require jungle attention, I think, if they fall behind, to really normalize that lane.
That said, if it's a Maokai pickup, this becomes very different. Maokai's very good at that counter engage on the Nautilus hooks with the Twisted Advance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he has a lot more opportunity to kind of counter those heavy engages and just really make people rethink going in nonstop.
Want me to wait while you go get
Yeah, and that's it. We can talk a little bit more about this top lane matchup. It's either going to be Maokai or Lulu versus the Camille, and both play out different ways, so run me through those scenarios.
As we are now hopping through the bands here, assuming actually that people are picking what they are going to play, it is going to be that Maokai in the top lane.
Yeah, so that lane, I mean, it's still Camille favored, less so than a lot of other Camille lanes, but when we talk about late game scaling, I mean, Camille's kind of the king of that right now in the top lane.
You're scared.
Yeah, Camille really capable of just kind of winning any lane matchup if you play her correctly. She is very reliant on the player that is playing her to know how to make her work in every lane matchup.
Indeed. And honestly, Camille's one of my favorite champions to see in a competitive. She has a very smooth kit, and, you know, skill ceiling on her, massive skill floor on her, also fairly high as well. You have to be able to have a certain mastery of that champion to be able to pull it off in competitive, especially when you have the split push setup. And speaking of split push, right, Galio, Camille, you have a 1-3-1 setup for your team. Will they be playing towards that win condition, or will they try to find something more skirmishy with this team?
I think more than anything, they're going to be looking for skirmishes, because the Camille can split push, but I don't really think there's a lot of opportunity for Galio to split push here. Anybody that he would go up against would at least be able to match him fairly well. And really just with Hecarim is just like the skirmish champion. He jumps down onto people. He puts a lot of burst damage on and kind of just soaks up damage and heals a little bit as he's running out. It's kind of just very in and out type of team comp. And both both Camille and Hecarim will get a lot of value out of Galio coming in to just back them up as they dive deep.
Yeah, and Onslaught of Shadows, that level 6 gank, very important, but also he has a very strong gank path on that level 3, level 4, where he's able to make things happen in that mid or top lane. As you mentioned, that Camille lane going to be a crux for this early game from this Amazon stock Diff squad. That said, we talked about this Hecarim pick. We can talk about the set now. This is a champion that we've seen kind of lower in popularity in the jungle as time has gone on. He's really more often picked as a support or a top laner, but this set jungle I think works very well with this team comp. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so Set has fallen a bit in popularity. He still has that just really good engage potential. Obviously, we're going to be looking at the Hex Flash with the with the Nimbus Cloak to kind of just get that extra move speed and close in on people. He does have a lot of gank opportunities. I think for the most part, these lanes will struggle with getting away from a set gank. None of them have like instant dashes outside of like Camille, really. And if any of these lanes push up without having the wards that they need, Scanlong can come in and really make these lanes a lot more volatile than they would be otherwise. But
yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but that said, there is still a lot of opportunity to play from range. Kaze's dash is not instant, but it is still a dash that he can use to get away if he's fast enough. Jhin can play from super far back. Nautilus doesn't have to play super far forward. They can play that lane a little bit passively. So there's definitely ways to play around what Scanlong wants to do. And just with these kind of nature of all these lane matchups being very scaling focused, it is going to be like on him if there is going to be a winning lane in this team.
Yeah, and you know, when you see these dashes, right? As you said, not all of them are instant. Even Camille's dash is telegraphed, right? This comes back to a point you made earlier in this draft. You have a Veigar on your team to counter that. You have the use of this event horizon, and if you mess up your positioning, you are screwed if you get caught in that up against this team comp.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just watch these lanes, and if any of them do get ahead where they're not supposed to, it makes this game a lot more interesting, because if all these lanes get smashed, it is going to be a hard comeback for Google. But there is the set to kind of cause havoc and turn one of these lanes into a winning matchup for them and really kind of turn this game on its head.
Yeah, and on top of that, right, you have and on top of that, right, so it's up to the set. And I think that's the key point for this Google composition, is that none of these lanes will win on their own. In a vacuum, right, the Jinx lane needs time to get off the ground. She has a relatively strong early game, but not with a Lulu, right? You typically want an engage support or a Morgana to go with that if you want to play aggressive with her early. And you have Veigar, who in theory lane counters Galio, but only insofar as to not lose lane and not necessarily win it. And this Maokai and a Camille matchup is still advantage to the Camille. She has the ability to chew through the Maokai using true damage, even when Maokai gets the Bramble Vest.
Yeah, and I would expect to see an early Bramble Vest come through on the Maokai as well. It is just all of either, that and the Ninja Tabi will do a lot of work against this Camille, and that's kind of the point where Mega Zero will be able to turn that lane matchup around, as we are going to see some aggro here.
Actually, I'm still loading in. So unfortunately, I have no idea what just happened there. So let's go ahead and if you can rewind yourself to 10 seconds, I'm sure something great happened here.
Yeah, we will go to 10 seconds. Hang on one moment. Okay,
hold on. I'm pausing this at 20. Apologies, guys. My computer, ever since I updated Windows, things have been not amazing.
All right, we are at 20 seconds, and you can.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, unpause. So yeah, Google working from home, going for the early invade. I quite like this. You have a Maokai who can make early invades very scary. Alongside a Set who, assuming he took Facebreaker first, this can be disastrous, especially with 3 people coming in from Amazon. Vizera in trouble. A 3-man Facebreaker. Vizera's dead. And that one goes to the Veigar, the last person you want to get an early kill, and Muji flashes away. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, and right off the bat, Scanlong just making work of the Facebreaker there. So that is huge, huge, huge. The Veigar did get the kill, which I think ideally you'd want it on the Jinx. Veigar will scale up with or without gold, generally. He generally wants more of the levels, but Jinx needs the gold to really kind of get off the ground. Regardless, an extra Dark Seal on the Vigar will do a lot to help him kind of turn that lane matchup, and now it becomes a little bit more Vigar favored.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Dark Seal gonna be picked up here, which is very nice. Gives you the extra sustain as well as a bit more AP, and Veigar loves his AP as he has 100% AP scaling on his W. Little known fact, if you are, as a former Veigar one trick, if you are in a position where the enemy is not below half health, your W does more damage than your R.
Mm-hmm.
It's good things. Because the AP scaling on the Veigar R depends on the percent missing, whereas his W is always at 100%. It's a fun fact. Meanwhile, in top lane, Counter-Strike was down a level, but was able to get to level 2 here. True damage really hurts on Maokai, as he's not able to get as much sustain off of his health items, which is unfortunate for this Maokai, but, you know, Counter-Strike feeling very, very pretty in that Camille lane. Gold difference only at 400 at the moment, so maybe not going to snowball this game off that level 1, but we'll see how this plays out over the rest of the game.
Yeah, right now, looking at jungle pathing here, both junglers are on that top side, using the Hex Flash to actually get over the wall and avoid the ward here. This is huge from Scanlong.
Scanlong, no, the face breaker. Counter-Strike down 150, but it'll stay alive.
Will stay alive, but like this is still an excellent gank. You don't get any sums, you don't get a kill, but you still get a bunch of damage on this Camille. And this Maokai is able now, with the health advantage, to turn this lane around. It will force the back from Counter-Strike, who's teleporting back.
Yeah, but now it's the double Dorans for the extra sustain here, and Megazero has to be careful. Scanlon's still up there, though, and there's
He's
no
seen
vision
on a ward.
him. There we go. Quick, though. Gets a nice hook down onto Fiddlesticks. Ignite will land. Here comes Vizera. They're looking for the follow-up damage as Fiddlesticks flashes out of the way. Gonna get knocked back. The exhaust hits, but Fiddlesticks still goes down. Vizera picks up the kill. Flash throw from Quicks into the root, into the hook. Double kill for Vizera. And that is the early aggression that we like to see out of Hecarim players.
Yeah, not just that, but both kills going on to the Hecarim will fast-track his Trinity Force, and that is where Hecarim is the most scary. Hecarim needs early kills to become that fearful horse that you know him as. So this is exactly where you want him to be, but Scanlong's still coming in.
Yeah, Kazai forced a flash out of that Veigar cage at the moment, as it appears you were slightly behind me, but thus is the way of having to sync up post game load in. Unfortunately. Scanlong, though, might be in a bit of trouble to this Hecarim, and with the Galio having the priority there, he's just going to have to give these Raptors over. But he's looking to fight for them. Facebreaker in. Kaze is here, but Ashes of Dreams gets the cage down. He gets the stun. The Q. Looking for the W. Vizera down to 100 health, but here comes Quicks. Gets the hook onto a minion. Vizera down to 100 health, but he stays alive. Fiddlesticks on the side. Kaze now trying to find Ashes of Dreams, who has a shield up to 400 total health. As the two-man Facebreaker hits, and Kaze goes down. Quicks might be the next one to fall, but he has the Q. He will be able to make his way out as the Hecarim backs, but here comes Scanlong. He's got quite a bit of speed. Quicks pops the W to get away into the Q. Scanlong's still looking for him, though. He has the Facebreaker, gets the pullback. Quicks, 300 health. The damage coming in from the Pix autos. Quicks to 100 health. The Facebreaker, Haymaker, no!
Yeah, very close there. Not able to get it, but ultimately does turn into just one extra kill, I believe.
Yeah.
Or no. Hold on.
It's a kill onto the Galio.
Kill onto the Galio. Yes. So, will actually, the bigger thing, though, getting the dragon here. Vizera is around, but, oh, this is actually really sketchy. They've got to leave this.
Yeah, and Mushi's just around the corner as well, so nice play coming out from this Amazon stock diff squad to keep Google from grabbing that first Infernal Dragon. Not the best early dragon, but the combat steps are very useful, and of course, you want to get the early dragon prio to set yourself up for soul point later in the game.
Yep, and right now, top lane, still actually kind of going even, which is a huge win for Megazero there, as he is now level 6, has I'm actually curious what the Ruby Crystal Rejuve is actually going to be building into here. So that is not what I expected to see. I would expect to see Bramble or Ninja Tabby being first item.
I mean, I think Ninja Tabby is the first item I would pick in a Camille matchup, just because the true damage, the fact that Bramble doesn't, or that Camille doesn't get lifesteal until the second item, right? Because she starts with Triforce. But it still is. She's also opted for Grasp instead of Conqueror, so she's going for short trades as well. So Bramble doesn't really do as much. I'm still wondering why it's not the Tabby, but, you know, they're higher rank than both of us, so, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I just think, like, with all the damage that Camille does being not only physical, but mostly auto attack damage,
yeah,
Bramble and Ninja Tabby do a lot of work. So I'd be curious to know why they're kind of swapping that up. As Bizarra just kind of walks away from Scanlong there. I don't know if he just didn't see him or what, but here comes that gank mid.
He has level 5, Kazo level 6, able to get into the cage, but can't get out. It will be a disengage from Veigar, and this is what we were talking about with that Veigar cage. All of these dashes are telegraphed, and Veigar can stop them in their tracks with the use of his cage. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Ashes of Dreams currently in an alright position. Google working from home, currently about 800 gold down at the moment. A lot of that in CS. Pieces here and there, but also 500 up on that Hecarim over the set.
Dragon Vision being taken here, and Muji will start it. So it is going to be the first dragon going over uncontested here to Vizera.
Yeah, and there's no way for Google working from home to really contest this. They don't have good ways into the pit with their squad, so they have to be able to grab early Dragon Prio, especially because Dragon Fights will go the favor of Amazon stock diff if Google working from home has to go into the pit instead of starting the dragon. That said, next dragon will be Cloud, so I want to see the Google working from home squad grab early priority to delay the soul point, but it really comes down to if they're able to find that in these next 5 minutes in the bot and mid lane.
Yeah, and once again, it kind of goes on to Scanlong to make that happen there, because I don't think these lanes can force that out from themselves unless there's a major mistake on the side of Amazon. You can see Fiddlesticks and Pyro actually doing fairly well in terms of just farm here. Farming up fairly effectively here, and looks actually to be like a Berserker Greaves first item coming through for the Jhin, which is, once again, not what I'm used to seeing, so...
I mean, it's Berserker's Greaves first item on Pyro as well.
Oh, wait, no, you know what it is? It's Stormrazor.
I mean, it should be Stormrazor, right? Zera.
Yeah.
But get out this Scanlong. Gets a two-man face breaker. The shield lands.
Wait,
the
phase rush.
Won't. Scanlong will fall to the Onslaught of Shadows as the Kaze now gets the knock up on Ashes of Dreams back into the queue. Pops the barrier, the flash, the hook does not land. And it will be a dead set, and that will be Rift Herald going over to Amazon stock diff. They have 4 minutes to place that. Probably going to be in the top lane, could be mid.
Yeah, and Scanlong able to at least make Vizera use the ultimate to confirm that kill. Ashes, though, kind of trying to show up and help his jungler out, but just getting himself caught out and blowing both his summoners here. So that does leave him open to a Hecarim gank if Vizera wants to go through with that.
I'm not
There's
sure
the
about
Jinx
that
ult.
Super Mega Death Rocket, but it's fine. Why is it that people from Zon have like, or Piltover and Zon have like all the cool ability names? You have Super Mega Death Rocket, Mega Inferno Bomb, Chrono Break, Parallel Convergence. Dang, 2 ultimates used in the top lane. Pot out into the side of the Camille fighting ring. Mega Zero down to 200 health.
Wait.
100 counter strike. Looking for more. He has the dash, the hook shot, the stun, and the empowered auto picks that one up. He lives under tower.
Yeah, not able to stay under tower long enough to get the kill there. Megazero will go down. Flash is burned on both Counter-Strike and Megazero. And yeah, Megazero just playing a little bit too aggressive there. They knew that Vizera was there, not only from the death onto set, but the aggro, or the use of the Rift Herald there, or the pickup of the Rift Herald, rather.
Oof. I'm surprised they didn't use it. I'm really surprised they didn't. You got 2 minutes to drop that top side. Unless
Yeah,
they're looking for the regank. Megazero doesn't have flash. And Counter-Strike held on to the TP.
Yeah, both top laners using the teleport there, and that is good use of the Twisted Advance for Megazero there to make that trade work out. As you can see, he's able to clear out these waves pretty well now. Has the Ninja Tabi. So we'll be actually going now for the Sunfire Cape. The Rejuve bead was sold, actually.
Ashes of Dreams gets a cage down. Onslaught of Shadows will be used. The stun lands, but so does the taunt. Back into the knockup. The Q, and Vizera picks up the kill. 4-1 and 1. 100% kill participation from Vizera. He's everywhere on the map.
And that is the angles that Vygar just cannot deal well with. You have Hecarim, who's ulting behind him, and Galio in front of him. Cage can only do so much to protect him, and it is just not enough as he will go down.
Meanwhile, Counter-Strike just having his way with Megazero now, as he does have the Phage, and that Phage plus the Sheen is absolutely a devil to deal with for this Maokai, just because she gets so much movement speed and the Empower auto attacks are doubly empowered now, right? You have your second Q plus, your first Q plus Sheen, and then your second Q plus true damage. Ooh, that's just spicy.
Yeah, and you can see right now, just with Vizera on the bottom side there, as the dragon is spawning with the pressure that the Nautilus engine have, Muji and Quicks moving up, getting dragon control right now. Looks like there's going to be some kind of a skirmish, and there are teleports on both top laners here, so it could be a huge fight for this next dragon.
Yeah, but look at the items here. We have a completed Storm Razor and not a completed first item on the Jinx, so the Jhin is in a better spot at the moment. Counter-Strike and Megazero might be difference makers if they can get into the fight, but they both have CC to stop the other from teleporting. Dragon has spawned. Muji's the only one in the pit as everyone's mid lane, and they're going to use this Rift Herald to guarantee the Drake. They won't be able to get any sort of plates off of it, but if they're able to guarantee the Drake with it, it might be worth it. And they start up the Dragon.
And it looks like they're just going to give this one up again. And I honestly think just with the way that this game is going, that is the correct call. Looking down at the team comp here from Amazon, it is all AD outside of Galio, who late game is not going to put out as much damage. You just stack armor on this Maokai, and he becomes a huge frontline for you. And if you can team fight in the late game there, that's going to be a very, very good late game composition for Google. You just kind of stall out as long as you can. You give up the smaller things that you can as
Ashes of Dreams, though. Vizera, come on, man. Leave him alone. Set up a tent. Bring the campfire and s'mores, because that there's a mid lane camp.
Yeah, Vizera, I mean, that's kind of the correct call there. I think other than bot lane, which is seeing a lot of action itself.
Well, top lane seeing action as well. The Onslaught of Shadows back into the taunt. Camille's here, and Counter-Strike picks up the kill. 100% kill participation on Vizera. Still on this game. It's just insane. He's been everywhere on the map. Everywhere.
Yeah, Vizera got those 2 early kills and became the Hecarim that you always see on the enemy team. As he is 5-1 and 2 now, will absolutely have the Trinity Force as he backs here, and double Triforce spikes here for top lane and jungle. This is the huge breaking point here, and this is where the gas pedal needs to be put down here if Amazon want to make this a game that cannot be come back from.
That said, they still have late game scaling in this Camille. Even though the Jinx is, as far as gold is concerned, dead even with the Jhin, has 2.4k in the backpack, so we'll be able to complete first item, either IE or Stormrazor, and start building towards that rune on Hurricane. You know, and you have this Vigor who's going to outscale the Galio. This Camille is always going to be a problem in this game. There is nothing they can do about Counter-Strike if Veigar does not land the perfect cage, and you have to be wary of that fact. Bramblevest going to be picked up by this Maokai. I quite like this. Counter-Strike will be going into the Death Stance next item, so getting it preemptively is a great item buy by Mega Zero.
Yeah, so... And not only that, but it's just so much armor already on this Maokai, and that is the vast majority of the damage profile you're going up against. So already, he is just incredibly tanky despite not finishing an item yet, and he's going to be able to hit that 2-item spike just like very suddenly and be this huge beefy tank that is going to be hard to deal with. The question is it going to be too little too late, and the damage from your carry's not going to be enough to supplement how much you're tanking?
We do see Cage land on a Visera as he channels the Rift Herald. Yes, Scanlong, as well as Ashes of Dreams here. Pyro is going to be late to the party, so the Rift Herald gets the charge off. That will be first tower going over to Amazon stock diff. Both Heralds were used mid, and they got a first tower. This game, accelerating the pace. That's what we need to see from this Amazon stock diff squad. And it looks like they've been doing it. They rotated the Galio into the sideline. They start their 1-3-1.
Yeah, but it's still, for what the team composition is a very late first tower here. Coming in at just under 18 minutes. Very slow, and Veigar, Jinx, they've got their first items ready here for them. That is going to start stacking up and becoming a little bit more of a threat here. Obviously, the one item is not the big power spike for these team comps, but it is a signal of what is to come.
That said, Veigar and Jinx, especially because this is the damage Veigar build. I quite like this because you're lacking in mid-game damage. Both have 2-item spikes instead of 3-item. So
Jinx just stole the red buff with her ult.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Quicks ends up getting an ult down on a Scanlong. Back in to the showstopper, but here comes the Galio ulti. A flash out of the cage. Ashes of Dreams, though, steps too far forward. Quicks is here, gets the taunt, and that's going to be a flash out of Ashes of Dreams. Fourth shot will not be able to hit. Here's Visera, finds Fiddlesticks, back in the onslaught of shadows, the pull, and Kaze picks up the kill on a Fiddlesticks. Still at 100% KP is this Hecarim.
Yeah, another kill coming through. Lulu going down. But that is a lot burned just to get one kill out. And here comes Mega Zero.
Quicks gonna be forced to stopwatch. Kaze on the side. Here comes the damage. Quicks ends up falling. Scanlong picks up the kill. Muji flashes out of the way. Hecarim is looking for more though, but Mega Zero is being a beefcake at the moment. Has completed Sunfire Cape. Without Galio damage, you are in a bit of trouble, but Camille's still pushing topside.
Yeah, and it's kind of hitting that point where that's the best Camille can do. If Mega Zero is there, Camille is not going to be able to damage him. He's got the Sunfire Cape as well as the Ninja Tabi and the Bramble Vest. And when you combine that with a Lulu and Veigar to protect Jinx, it's getting scary. That said, like, it is still a solid lead for Amazon here, but it is not insurmountable, and we are seeing the points where Google can come back and turn this game back around. These next few minutes are going to be incredibly crucial in determining how this game turns out.
And in the mid game, the AD carries are even. That favors Jinx. And that's something we have to be careful about. That said, Veigar opting, instead of going into the decap second item, he will be going into an item based on Blasting Wand, either the Void Staff or the Leandri's Torment. I honestly am not...
Could be Banshees.
Could be Banshee's Veil as well. If it's Banshee's Veil, I think it's... I think it's all right. But if it's going to be Leandri's Torment, I'm going to be very sad. Because I do think, generally speaking, that 2-item spike on the more damage-focused Veigar builds is so strong that delaying it kind of defeats the purpose of not going Glacial Augment.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to be coming up now on another dragon coming up here. Obviously, Scanlong was able to get that third dragon here, and we're going to kind of see, like, was that a one-off, or is that going to be the rule moving forward, that Google is going to try and get these dragons and become a lot more tanky here with the extra healing from the ocean dragons.
There's still 7,000 gold in the hole, and that's something that cannot be overstated. Camille opted into the Titanic Hydra's second item, so next item will be the Death Dance.
It's Ravenous, actually.
Sorry, I meant to say Ravenous Hydra. The one that gives lifesteal, not the one that gives lifeline.
Tankiness.
Oh, no, it doesn't give lifeline. It gives the other thing. Crap. Syrinx Cage gives lifeline.
Oh,
anyway,
this could be bad.
Lulu works upon the wild growth, and we see Hecarim go into the cage. Fiddlestick's still alive, though. The damage is not there from the Jhin quite yet.
And that's a problem there, because those are the exact picks that you need to make happen with that composition, and it's only going to get harder and harder to make it.
Cage, Galio, when he used the heroic entrance, meanwhile, was a very, very smart twisted advance from Mega Zero to dodge out the stun from Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and these picks are only going to get harder and harder as the game goes on here. So if they're not able to make that happen on a Lulu now, it's not going to get any easier when the game keeps going forward.
Get the hook down. Here comes Zera. He's polymorphed, though. Dashing back in. Pyro gonna flash. Here comes Kaze, though. He's looking for the taunt onto Pyro. He finds it. Down goes the Jinx. Kaze picks up the kill. The Zera still
no,
100%
Ash!
The root, the hook. Quicks picks up the kill on Ashes of Dreams. It's still 1 for 2, though, and here comes Counter-Strike onto Fiddlesticks. The taunt onto 3. Back into the Q, and the Hextech ultimatum. It's only the Maokai alive, and he's gonna get hooked. Rooted under tower. Double kill for the Hecarim as Counter-Strike picks up a second of his own. It will be 2 for 5, and Amazon stock Diff now have a firm hold on the game.
Yeah, and taking advantage of those summoners going down, and Kaze coming in and getting 2 massive taunts there. One to finish off the Jinx, and one on 3 people to confirm the rest of those kills there. That will break the base and now put the momentum back into... Oh!
Super Mega Death Rocket, able to get a kill, and now she's excited. The slow lance from the Zap, gets damage through on the rockets. Vizera at 300 health, able to stay alive. Oh gosh.
The tempo is just going back and forth there. Kaze going down means that Baron is going to be a little bit scary here for Amazon to deal with, because they have to contest it in a 4v5 scenario. He is going to be down for 20 seconds. He does not have teleport. He does have the ultimate, but they are going for this Baron right now.
Vizera is still scary, though, as is Counter-Strike, and Counter-Strike has TP. They're all moving towards this Baron pit. They know
Vizera has
happens.
ult as well.
There will be Muji on the curtain call. They see the Baron pit. That's 2 shots, 3. Looking for the 4th. Quicks flashing over. Gets the depth charge in. Onto the carry. Is set. Takes him out of the pit.
Watch Pyro.
Onto Counter-Strike. And he pops the Hextech ultimatum. He's down to 300 health. Flash onto Counter-Strike. Quicks on the run. Caught in the Zap. And he will go down to Pyro. Pyro is excited. He dashes right through the Veigar cage as the flash gets taken out. Here comes the Galio ultimate, the hero's entrance on a Mega Zero, but that's just the tank. It's another kill to Google working from home, and instead of going on the Baron, they start moving towards this dragon, but Counter-Strike is still around.
Yeah, Counter-Strike is around, is fairly healthy, and he's got to get...
Fiddlesticks is caught.
Lulu. Yep.
Yeah. But both supports are off the map. The dragon goes over the second of the
They may lose
oceans.
Inhibitor for this, though.
They might lose Inhibitor, indeed. Nautilus is back up, and that will be in the Inhibitor down. That is 2 Ocean Drakes and 1 more soul point averted, but this could be Baron priority for Amazon stock Diff if they decide to go for it.
This is absolutely Baron priority for them here. I don't think they're going to go for it because the super minions have not started coming into the base yet. But this is now a hard situation for Google as the minions are going to push into their base and they have to answer this dragon. Without the Lulu yet, she is not here.
Scanlon doesn't have a way into the pit. Quicks might be in a bit of trouble. The root lands onto Scanlon. He's able to get a 2-man, and the Haymaker gets 2, and that's going to be enough for the fight to maybe turn in Google's favor. The taunt looking for Mega Zero. He is able to get it, but it's only onto the tank as Ashes of Dreams tries to find the damage onto Kaze. Mega Zero going to go for the twist and advance forward. Kaze in trouble, going to be knocked airborne. He's slow. There's the flash, but Pyro's already on a killing spree. Super Mega Death Rocket does connect, but he's not able to get a kill, and that's 2-4-0 in the Baron pit. Pyro now looking for the damage on the Muzi. Gets the zap. One more ult, and Pyro with the auto attack on a rampage. 4-2-4 on this Jinx. They will get the Baron.
They will get the Baron, but somebody has to go back and deal with the base here, so it will be a little bit more sketchy, but I think they're just going to give this away. And once again, these last 2 or 3 fights, Pyro has not really been touched very much.
Oh no,
Camille is
Counter-Strike
here,
caught in the cage.
Oh,
Goodbye,
no.
my friend. And the shutdown goes over to the Jinx. That's the last person you want the shutdown on. She's on her 2-item power spike, but they're looking for more. Quicks ends up popping the ultimate into the pit. They have the TP. They're going for more. Quicks ends up getting the hook. Kaze's here. The Hextech ultimatum is not available as the Camille's already dead. Scanlog looking for Vizera, but instead turns on the Quicks, who will end up falling to Pyro. He gets excited once again, and the Baron is still on the table. Vizera does not have ultimate for another 10 seconds, and he's pushing in that mid lane.
Baron is over this. Baron is tired of people just coming in and leaving here. he just wants to fight people and take them down. Bizarre's going to be pushing, but Ashes of Dreams with the cage will be able to buy a lot of time.
The damage is there, but here comes the Jin. They're able to get the kill on a Fiddlesticks. Pyro is very low. Kaze pops. The zone is hourglass. Kaze now down to half health as Pyro gets chunked out by the Winds of War. They're trying to get this Baron, but the shutdown lands onto the Jin. They're able to steal the Baron away, and they're able to get the kills on all of Google. Mega Zero, the last one alive, and he falls. That was a mistake and a half from Google working from home, and Amazon finally has control once again.
And it looked like it was going well because they had the Vigar back, stopped Vizera from pushing. They were getting the Baron down, but they just panicked. And Galio coming in, Kaze hitting a massive taunt there, getting Pyro to force back out away from the rest of his team, but they still needed to take that Baron down. So he had to move back forward, and it ended up with him getting caught out and dying. And then the panic smite from Scanlong left Baron with like 300 health. It was massively early there. And Camille cleaning up the Baron. Now another inhibitor down and no objectives for them to try and take and put the tempo back in Google's favor. This is looking really rough now for Google.
You know, they're at a 10,000 gold deficit. It didn't look like that for the last 3 minutes up until the end there. Google is fighting their hearts out and has to do with these power spikes. Jinx is on 3 items. Vagar opted for the Void Staff second item. Not a huge fan of that pickup, but he is getting close to the death cap. He has 2,300 in the bank. Will be able to get both of his needlessly large rods now as he's on 2,500. And that decap spike might spell the end for Amazon stock Diff if they're able to turn just one fight.
Yeah, and the game is just exceedingly volatile now because one mistake from Google will cost them the rest of this game. Their waves are being pushed into their base right now, but they are the stronger late game team composition, and they have a Jinx. If they get a fight around where they can protect this Jinx and not split up like they did at that Baron fight, I think they can turn this back around, but those are a lot of ifs that they have to take into account.
25 seconds on the Ocean Soul as well, or not the Soul, the third Ocean Dragon for either team. And this can be very scary for this Google working from home squad. I honestly think they just cannot contest this with all these waves smashing in. They have to seed one Ocean Dragon and fight for the next one.
Yeah, that does put Soul Point on the menu, though. It is definitely the right call. They have no opportunity to really fight for this dragon. They need to keep this last inhibitor up.
They don't have one shot. They don't have one opportunity. That's 2 M&F references and 2 casts, mind you. No.
No. No.
Come on. Look, last time you called me the whitest rapper ever, I have to, like, defend myself.
No. No, you don't.
Counter strike though. Caught in the cage. Damage is not coming
Just
through.
avoiding
Polymorph lands.
everything.
Yeah, that's a rip and a half for the Vhagar. Currently sitting on 750 gold, so we are at 350 from the power spike. And that power spike is huge on Vhagar. What's his stack total at right now, actually? He's at 100, or right, not 100 stacks. He's at 257 stacks.
Which is a lot, actually. That is, yeah, he's at 613 AP. With that, that is going to get
brings
up
him to
close
900-ish.
Yeah, he's going to get hit 900 with the death cap coming through, so that is a huge spike.
Man, I love decap spikes. Like a zero. Just advanced Counter-Strike's already out. 50 gold away. Ashes of Dreams just has to not die.
Yeah, and that creates a huge new zone of scariness for them, as the Vhagar was going to chunk them, but now it is a lethal chunk that will come through once that death cap is finished. So,
and with the Void Staff build, right? Doesn't even matter if they had MR built, which they don't. That is essentially true damage. 1,000 guaranteed on a hit W on everyone on this Amazon stock diff team without even using the primordial burst. And oh boy, here comes the decap. Total AP is 865, just short of that 900.
yeah, will not come through. Will not hit the 900 yet, but yeah, he is very scary. And the thing too is there are not any objectives really for another minute yet. They could just keep just clearing these waves, buying time and scaling up.
Last Whisper also completed on the Jinx here, so Camille less sustained in fights. I like the Last Whisper build here. Able to get that armor shred as well as the healing reduction. Inhibitor respawning in a minute here, so they will be able to contest for the Baron. Counter-Strike spot lane, level 18 on the Camille.
And Baron is going to be the point of contention here. Counter-Strike is level 18. Mega Zero level 16, actually, so a little bit behind in that. But teleports up. The Baron is just what matters right now, because it is do or die, honestly, I think, on that Baron. If Google do not stop that Baron from going through, it is going to cost the game.
Yeah, and Counter-Strike's getting damage onto this turret, whether Mega Zero likes it or not. Baron's been started. Amazon stock diff is here. We see the TP coming in. Maokai has the ultimate. We'll get a twisted advance down, but here comes the Galio. Gets two taunts. Muji out of the fight, but he's so low, and he gets taken down by the Jinx Super Mega Death Rocket. Ashes of Dreams just deletes the Hecarim, and that's the decap power spike. But Camille, she's pushing in the bottom lane. They need to get people back into the base ASAP, as that inhibitor has fallen. They've made this mistake before, but they won't do it again. Galio's here with the hero's entrance.
Ashes.
The Camille ult, the taunt, and Ashes of Dreams is down. Mega Zero now in 1v2 in base while this team is taking up the Baron. But this might be a mistake. Counter-Strike down to half health, as is Kaze. The Baron is now onto this Maokai. He has Baron-empowered minions to get out of this push, as Quicks is very low. Flashes over, but Pyro still gets the kill. Mega Zero is here, but here comes Scanlong. Counter-Strike in trouble. He doesn't have flash, he doesn't have ulti, and the ult will come out and will get the kill for Scanlong. Akaze now, the last member of his team alive. 1 second left on that Hecarim as the Jhin also respawns. Kaze now running away from Scanlong. The Ocean Dragon is up in 23 seconds. Kaze buying time. He gets the taunt out. He will flash and he will stay alive as his Jhin and his jungler make their way into the pit.
Yeah, and now Ocean Dragon gonna almost guaranteed to go to Google right here. Actually, they're gonna go look for Muji.
They decide to go back onto the dragon. They need to grab the soul point. This goal difference does not matter at this point. It does not matter.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, it is very inconsequential at this point. Especially because I don't think that takes into account the gold value of just the champions on the map right now. The gold value between Jhin and Jinx, like, is 3,000 in Jinx's favor, or actually more like 2,000, but it is much more when you take into account how well they scale individually.
PSGA now too.
Yeah, and the Vigar, the passive on the Vigar is all about scaling. The gold
He's at
value on that
950.
is absurd.
He's at 956 AP right now as well. So fast approaching on that 1,000 AP. And he's building his own his Hourglass as well. With this GI completed on the Jinx, she's full build, might swap out the boots for something like a Death Stance or a Bloodthirster. Could just end up putting the rest of the gold into elixirs the rest of the game. But this is a full build Pyro, and an item down is Muji. Counter-Strike now.
There's a flank.
Get on to the support. The Exec Ultimatum back into the ult from the Galio. That's the one where they wanted to get 2 kills. The hook lands, and Ashes of Dreams is down, as is the support. Jinx is here, though. She's able to get 1. Looking for more. The taunt lands from Kaze on to Mega Zero. The Zera. Oh, man, the Super Mega Death Rocket just yeets the Galio. And they're able to turn the fight enough to stop the push.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of protection now for this Jinx. It is only the Maokai with no ult. He can root one person, but that is it. The inhibitor gonna probably end up going down here. Pyro needs to play careful, because if he messes up, that is going to be the game.
They don't want to give this one over. The game's on a knife edge as it is. 9 seconds on the Lulu, 16 on the Veigar. The Zera, rooted up by Mega Zero. He will get rooted up himself.
He's
Pyro
so tanky,
still has
though.
GA. And it's, once again, this is full AD minus the Galio, and Galio barely does any damage at this point in the game. Quick's down to 1,000 health. Quick's 300. One more twisted advance, and Mega Zero gets the kill. The Zera forced to make his way out. And this Jinx is so scary. 10, 3, and 5. 450 gold shutdown. Full build, and Jhin is still missing an item as the dragon spawns in 2 minutes 30 seconds alongside the Baron.
Yeah. So right now, this is tower taking time. This is the point where Google can start to make the map go a little bit more in their favor. Mega Zero able to just walk up and tank a bunch of tower shots here. Just does not care.
It's like, I have a Jinx. It's like, I
And
have
a
a
passive.
tower. We have a Jinx and a Maokai. I believe this is the last super wave that has spawned for the spot lane inhibitor, if my mental notes are correct. And it appears that is the case. So we're looking at this inhibitor respawning before both of these objectives are up. And Jinx and Veigar are already in base to clear this. This will be Baron priority over to Amazon stock diff, and this is a do or die fight for both these teams. The winner of this fight, if they're able to get a clean ace, wins the game. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, it is a very, very just on the point of a needle game right now. His death timers are at a point where one move will cost a game for either team.
Now, it depends on if they decide to fight around the Baron or the Ocean Dragon. Because it's soul point for both teams. And it's second Baron for Google working from home, third for Amazon stock diff. And it looks like it will be the Ocean Dragon from Amazon stock diff that they're going to try to contest. Counter-Strike in trouble here. Pyro gets some damage in, but that will be Mega Zero's ult used. Has TP though. The Jinx is topside. "15 seconds. Dragon Prio to Amazon stock diff, and they still have Camille on the top side of the map. This might end up being a base race here. Maokai's here,
It
but
could.
you can't stop. You can't
Yeah,
stop
I think
Camille.
MegaZero can at least hold off on the towers here.
Both top laners in the top lane. Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike's just going to take all the inhibs.
Yeah. This is really smart from Counter-Strike. The dragon fight is starting, but Directed Camera wants us to see the base. But here comes the Set Ultimate, able to get a three-man pull. Kaze now in trouble, but he dashes back into the team. He's stunned up, can't get the taunt, pops his own his hourglass as the Camille is pushing in on that third inhibitor. This is going to be close. Counter-Strike now down to half health as MegaZero is still full health. Counter-Strike just needs to buy time as the soul goes over, and that's going to be death of Counter-Strike if he stays around too long. Quicks ends up falling to the Veigar, but here comes the Zera. They're looking for the damage on to these towers. The Ocean Soul is here. MegaZero going to pop the ultimate as the TP gets down from the Galio.
He doesn't die.
Still alive. He's at to 2,000 health, and Counter-Strike goes down in the solo kill. Kaze now on the run alongside the Zera. Pyro is here. That's the damage. That's the kill. Pyro's unstoppable. It's 3-0. They lose all the inhibs, but they get the Ocean Soul.
Yeah, but they can't do anything with it. They're stuck pushing these minions out of their base. Double super minions means that it is so hard to push out and get away from their base. And they need to be able to do that because Baron is alive right now and they have to get to it. So this is such a hard call. Counter-Strike has the teleport up. There is opportunity to TP into the base and finish this game.
It's 25 seconds though, and this Baron melts in 10.
Yeah, they're going to take the Baron and just get back, and they are going to protect their base here. All they have to do, they take the Baron. It is not about using the Baron in this scenario. It is about just taking it away from Amazon and making sure that the Baron cannot be used in combination with the super minions to finish the game. This is just going to be another, 2 minutes of stalling right now as there is nothing to fight over, and the minions are going to be pushed so deep into Google's base.
So the final item for the Jinx was the Phantom Dancer, and I love this. I absolutely love this. Double RFC coming in for Muji as well. So he still has one item to go as he still has Swifties, but still on a knife's edge. Google's pulling these fights out of somewhere dark, but they still haven't found the fight to win them the game. And this comes down to Counter-Strike. He's put so much pressure on the base. Every time Google wins a fight, they lose an inhib or two.
Yeah, and you can see Camille hovering on the outside of the base there. Looks like Counter-Strike wants to try and pressure these and force these minions in, but it is just so hard to do when this Maokai literally can 1v2, 1v3 and not die.
Spirit Visage, check. Ocean Dragon, check. Ocean Soul, check. It's a 4 Ocean Dragon, Ocean Soul, plus Maokai passive. You ain't killing this tree anytime soon.
And the thing too is Amazon, they don't have a way to really kind of force it. They don't have a better team fight. They don't have the better individual lane at this point. The Hecarim is fallen off. He's just tanky now. He doesn't do enough damage. Pyro still has the GA available. This, yes, technically Google is on the back foot right now, but it is only a matter of time until these inhibitors come back up. And there's still no objectives up, and they could just play aggressive.
There is a GA on Counter-Strike, though, so if MegaZero kills him, he's not going to...
MegaZero has a Tiamat.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I like
He's
this
looking
a
to
lot.
split push.
Yeah, exactly. Well, how do you counter a Camille? You just out-split push her. And this is really, really good. You have the Tiamat plus the Iceborne Gauntlet for the wave clear. This man only has a Spirit Visage in terms of MR, which he's not even using for MR. He's just using it for the healing. Because Galio's fallen off a cliff. The cliff's already gone. Galio's a taunt bot now. And
yes.
This is... I mean, once again, one clean fight from either team is a win. And right now, I favor straight 5v5s from Google working from home, but Amazon Stock Dip is trying their darndest not to let that happen. The inhibs are respawning. This is the last super wave from all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I actually really like this Tiamat pickup here from the Maokai, as not only does Maokai need it for the extra wave clear, but also his attack speed is just inherently very good because of his passive.
Counter-Strike though, Hextech Ultimatum onto the Maokai, but Mega Zero pops the ultimate in return.
Oh
Muji
no,
is here.
everybody is here.
This is a lot of damage, and that will be a dead Maokai. They find the pick.
Redemption
And the
also
inhibs are
used
respawning.
there. And did not even make use of it. Got out of the zone. And that's actually really big because that is all their tankiness.
Yeah.
This now creates a scenario where there is no front line for Google here. The set is the only front line, and he is not going to buy a lot of time, and that just means that they are stuck kiting back with this Lulu and Vigar protection.
That said, Vigor still has control of the lead available, and he's going to look for it. All the inhibitors have respawned, and Counter-Strike's trying to find the top one, but they are still turtling in base. Counter-Strike just needs one more auto onto that top inhib. This is very scary for Google. 16 seconds on the Maokai. He will respawn in time for a fight. The flash into the polymorph. Flash down on Lulu. Scan long. Tanking up the damage as best he can. Still has the Gargoyle Stone Plate, as the top and bottom inhibitors will fall. The damage coming out on the Counter-Strike, though. He's down to 1,000 health. Will end up getting the GA pop, but he's dashed out of the way with the hook shot. Counter-Strike now down to 1,000 health. Polymorphed up. That will be the ult used, but Pyro already gets the kill. Jinx is excited, and 2 inhibs are down, but that's the thing. It's not 3. Elder Dragon in 9 seconds, and they don't have the Camille to punish this fight.
Yeah, they just do have to be careful because the minions are going to push into their base there. You can see Vizera and Kaze looking to push this. They might try and go for the base if they go for the Elder Dragon.
Vizera.
Oh
looking
no!
for that third inhib, and he's able to get it. That's 6 super minions. The Baron's spawning in 48 seconds. This game has been so tense for the past 20 minutes. We're at 50 minutes. This is the Vagar win condition here.
Kaze's caught out, though.
Kaze's dead. There is no other word for it. Pops the Zonia is just to buy a little bit of time for his team to do damage to the base. Damage is onto the towers. They're able to get one. Ashes of Dreams is here, though. Vizera might be caught in the cage, but he's able to stay alive. That's still a tower down base. They only have one remaining.
And it's very low. It is possible for a TP from Counter-Strike or Vizera just running in to take that.
Oh,
stun!
The flash, the ult, the W, and the Jin's down. Ashes of Dreams is ignited up. The flash comes out, but there's the TP.
Tower's down.
The damage.
Nexus.
Counter-Strike gets the damage onto the base. That's gonna be the game. Amazon stock to pull it out of somewhere dark. Pull it back from the brink.
That was about the only way Amazon was going to win that game. They kept sending multiple people to answer these split pushes here, and while Set and Jinx are on the Elder Dragon, they trade it for their Nexus and lose the game after slowly trying to claw themselves back into this game. They give it away by playing too passively and over-engaging on the opportunities that were presented to them.
I'm dead.
I did.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my god. What was that game? So highest damage in the game still went to the Jinx. Second highest though, the Camille. Holy moly.
Yeah, and just Amazon giving it was such a tactical like give and take. They said, okay, well Galio's gonna go down. Whatever, that's fine. You put so much into it that we're gonna, get the first of your Nexus towers and take the other one really low. And then Elder Dragon's up. Well, okay, if you guys want to go towards Elder Dragon, we're just gonna push into your base and take the last tower, turn things around. It was just a complete mismatch of what the priorities needed to be in the most crucial of situations that caused Google to throw this game away when they were just clawing back into it.
This was probably the most exciting single game of League of Legends I've casted in a long time. And we're back for more. This is a best of 3. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back with more of the Corporate Esports Association Week 6 matchup between Google working from home and Amazon stock Diff. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and bees of all ages, welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association Week 6 matchup between Amazon Stock Diff and Google Working From Home. I'm PhiNick, joined on the desk today by Thousand Eyes, and we are getting right into this game number 2 draft after that absolute barn burner of a game number 1.
Yeah, and in a game that should have been over probably 35 minutes into the game, it just went on and on. Both teams just scratching and clawing to finish the game. And now we are into game 2 after Amazon pulled it out, and bands looking to be exactly the same. Both teams feeling confident in exactly how they picked their compositions, at least so far in band.
Yeah, and Google opted to go for the blue side once again. Honestly, I ain't blaming them. I do think that they might want to ban away the Camille's second rotation here, just because of the problems it caused Mega Zero early in the game. But at the same time, Amazon Stock Diff and Counter-Strike has quite a few different tricks up their sleeve. We're going to see what the first pick is, and it will once again be the set for Scanlong. And it's a contested jungle pick. We expected this to happen every single game. And once again, it gets picked up first by this Google squad. And it will be the Jin Hecarim. Is this the salty runback?
This very well could be, honestly. I think both teams felt pretty confident about their compositions in terms of what they played. It was how they played it that caused the games to go exactly how it was. Obviously, both teams have a lot of things to fix up from the last.
Oh my god!
It is the exact same composition so far.
It's the exact same pick order too.
I feel like I am just
this is gonna be a Nautilus pick.
I'm having deja vu. Whoa.
No,
they're baiting. It's gonna be the Nautilus. No, okay.
It's not. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So first different pick does very similar things to the Nautilus, but has a lot more to do with crowd control than Nautilus does because of that Alistar ultimate. But pre-6 Alistar is very strong in lane, but is still very susceptible to counter-engage supports, much like the Leona. So we'll see if this Lulu ends up going top lane, they want to counter-pick that, or if they're going to keep the Lulu bot with that Jinx.
Yeah, so like you said, it is important to note that there are so many flex picks that Google have. So while it may be the same pick order and the same picks so far, that does not mean they are putting them in the same spots.
Especially now that this Camille is banned, we're gonna definitely see something different top lane from this Amazon stock diff squad. TF can be banned away from the mid lane as well. Galio is available if they want to pick it. I don't think they will, considering it really didn't do too much last game, even in the early game where Galio is supposed to be strong. That early game was mostly carried by Visera, and bite me because I'm wrong. But yeah, that's... Okay, I like this Ahri pick quite a lot. This is the early aggression that that Google working from home was missing last game, and this Ahri pick is a winning lane, not in the way that Vigor is a winning lane where it just doesn't lose. Ahri can punish Galio. If this is the Ornn blind pick, I like this as well, and it will be the Ornn. They have a much stronger team fight with this composition, and Ornn is a much better split pusher than the Maokai, so it depends on what Quick's picks here. As a counter pick to the Ornn, there are definitely options, but with the set off the table, we might end up seeing him on something like a Shen. Could be the Counter-Strike namesake himself.
Shen is banned, so I don't think it will be the Shen.
No, it won't be the Shen.
I like this composition more because they're trading some of the late game power that you had in the Vigar for a winning lane, and Ornn also just, while he does not bring as much peel, I think this does give a little bit more engaged potential that you didn't have on the last team, and I think that really hurt them when they needed to force these fights and spent so much time chasing people down. The Ornn will be able to catch people out a little bit easier, whereas Maokai is a lot more about peeling people off. Now, once again, Amazon's team composition, very mid-game spike focused. You have the Renekton, which Counter-Strike plays a lot of. The Hecarim, obviously last game was massive. And the Alistar here is a much stronger engaged champ, can engage in those minions, so there is just a zone, a huge area where you just cannot walk up as the enemy team compared to Nautilus, where you can hide behind walls or minions.
Yeah, and that head buff pulverize combo is very deadly to Jinx, who has very low mobility, and will have to take flash, potentially cleanse. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the call for this Jinx, considering you're up against a Jhin Alistar lane. You have Galio taunt to worry about as well, alongside Renekton Slice and Dice. All of these tools to dive you in that back line, while Ahri is going to be up front, and you have Lulu shielding, you don't have a lot of peel. As we said, Maokai not going to be in this game. Instead it's Ornn. You're sacrificing peel for engage, and when you look at this engage, both teams are very heavy on that backline dive.
Yeah, a little bit more favored on Amazon. With the Galio, Renekton, Hecarim, Galio can follow up on just that dive potential from Hecarim, Renekton. And once again, it is just really about, are they going to keep this Jinx safe? They've traded a lot of the actual crowd control that they had last game to keep Jinx safe, like you said, in exchange for that engaged potential. So it is very much going to be a lot more on Pyro to position correctly and not rely on his team to bail him out of bad spaces that he is in. Seemed like for the most part he did pretty well on that though, so we'll have to see how that one plays out. But once again, that bot lane there is going to be a hard matchup. The top lane also a hard matchup for Ornn until that level 12, 13 point. And Ahri, that is the lane you need to make sure gets ahead. If Ahri is not able to get ahead on her own and Set has to spend that time there, that is the rest of your lanes in a hard situation where they have to keep themselves alive in these really rough lane matchups and with a Hecarim ganking them.
Yeah, and the vision game early is going to be really important. When you're playing against a Set jungle, especially mid-game, there are multiple different angles that he can come from, but the big vision spot that you need to be wary of when you're up against a Set jungle and you have a strong mid laner that you're up against is that Raptor pit. If you do not have vision on the Raptor pit or the entrance thereof, Set will come from behind, hex flash you, and kill you. Doesn't matter what champion you are. You have to be careful about that. And we see from these junglers, both of whom want to be able to get some early aggression down, Hecarim has to focus top lane and Set has to focus mid lane. Those are their early game win conditions. If Renekton does not get ahead, then Renekton is useless. If Ahri doesn't get ahead, Ahri is useless. You have to put the gold into these carries early.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a hard thing to manage, though, of you do need this Hecarim to get gold as well. He needs to be able to get ganks off and pop off early enough there is a much stronger cliff to fall off of from Amazon this game, where I don't think they'd be able to pull the same kind of thing that they did last game with the Camille.
Yeah, I mean, they still have some late game scaling in the Jhin, but Jinx still outscales Jhin late. And just due to the nature of DPS focused AD carries versus burst AD carries, even though they're both building crit, one is going to put all their damage at the beginning of a fight, and the other one's going to sustain, be able to shred tanks, etc., etc. We can go into the nuances of that later. But the key here, when you look at these teams and when you focus on specifically the Amazon one, as you said, they do not have the Camille this time around. They have a Renekton who does not scale late. This is not the Spear Sojin meta, although that is coming back in Season 11, and it makes me feel sad.
I have so many feelings about some of the item changes, but that is not the place. This is not the place to talk about that, as we are going to be getting into the game here.
I had that bug again, so I'm going to be late loading in. So get in and pause at 5 as you were, so we don't end up getting any sort of spoilers here. But I guess this is time to talk about the individual players of these teams, because I have some fun facts for you. So okay, I'm actually in game. Are you in game? We're good?
I am in game and we are paused.
Okay, doesn't matter about anything then, because they're gonna get auto synced by the pause. You couldn't tell last game because he pulled off he was basically the only reason his team won that last game. But Counter-Strike plays a lot of Genshin Impact, so has not affected his playing. We thought, maybe with the amount of gacha
I don't know, some of the split pushing there did not work out terribly well.
Hey, but you know what? We're in the game. And I have a whole host of facts given to me by the Google captain here. Like, did you know
mostly
that
flaming his own team?
Mostly flaming his own team, but it includes himself. Like, did you know that Mega Zero back in 2013 was crowned best Riven NA, and he doesn't even play Riven anymore? Fun facts. I wanted to see Riven. No?
No.
That's unfortunate. What, you don't like seeing Riven in games? Dude, Riven v Camille would be such a hype matchup. I mean, you're probably going to play Urgot in a Camille, but still, I mean, well, actually, Mega Zero doesn't play Urgot. Riven and a Camille. Make it happen. I want to see that in 1v1 tourney. I don't know if we have a 1v1 tourney, but we should. And it's going to be the 5 stack versus the...
Yeah, they are going to go for a late invade, I think, here.
And it could be a late invade here from this Amazon squad, but it looks like they're just opting to go ahead and take the camps here. So no early vision priority or invades.
It would make more sense to just stack and be prepared for an invade here, because I don't think their composition works terribly well trying to invade level 1.
Yeah. The stack worked out for Google last game as they were able to get first blood off of it. Tried it again, no luck. Unfortunately, this is not G2 versus wait, who was it? Up against Gen G, so we're not seeing fun level 1s. It's not Suning versus who did they play again? It wasn't. It was crap. JDG. There we go. JD Gaming. It's not Suning versus JDG, so we're not going to see those level 1s. It's Amazon v Google, which is basically just Suning versus JDG if you think about it.
Okay.
Well, because like Google's like JD in that they kind of just own everything related to online stuff, and then like Amazon's like Suning in that they, mostly like they do other online stuff, but mostly as a storefront, or at least that's what's public facing. Obviously, Amazon Web Services is a huge part of Amazon. I'm drawing parallels here. You gotta find these parallels from time to time. And here's the thing about Ornn, though. I don't think Renekton's as much of a counter pick as the Camille was into the Maokai, just because Ornn does so much early burst damage and can take some very one-sided trades up until that level 6.
I don't entirely agree with that.
I don't think Ornn wins the lane, but I think it's better than, I think it's a better lane for Ornn than the Maokai was into the Camille, if that makes sense.
I think they're about even, because the big thing is mostly just the trading with the Qs there. Renekton can go in and get the Q and back out before Ornn can get that auto attack response. And there's just so much built-in sustain that Renekton will almost be able to win every trade he goes up against until some defensive items come in for Ornn.
I mean,
But right now it looks like it is just full clears for the junglers, really. Just trading the top and bot scuttles here. They are pinging. They know that Hecarim is on this bottom side here.
We could see the early rotate coming from the Ahri as she's able to get early wave priority on the Galio, just due to the nature of the Ahri range and wave clear versus the Galio has to get up and personal wave clear. But the thing is, Vizera's not getting punished for this at all. We see Scanlon coming over, and now he's behind Ashes of Dreams, doesn't have the Foxfire. And Ashes of Dreams will stay alive. No need to burn summoner spells.
Yeah, with the way that the wave was there, that was basically just a, I'm going to be running through here anyway, so I'm just going to try and gank and just do what I can here. So not the worst thing in the world. Doesn't really waste any of Vizera's time. Gets a little bit of damage onto the Ahri. And it will just be a reset here coming through, as Vizera's going to try and clear this bot side, maybe look for a bot side gank here, but his lane is pushed up here, as opposed to Scanlong, who is going to look for this top side, but it just was freshly warded.
That said, Vizera has not put as much early pressure this game as he did last game. He's mostly been farming up to that level 6. At this level 4 last game, we saw him constantly ganking lanes and be everywhere on the map. And when you have a Renekton, you need to be able to put more ganks topside. So him playing towards this bottom side of the map, gonna look for the clear top side, probably gonna look for a gank on that level 6. But with this set in, you know, a position to just keep farming up until he's ready to gank Ahri, this could be a mistake from Vizera.
Yeah, I mean, Vizera's gank did allow for the cheater back from Kaze, did not really miss a whole lot there. And Ashes of Dreams, mostly his big problem right now is his lack of mana, so any kind of gank would have to come after there is a back here.
Yeah.
His Counter-Strike will take a bunch of damage there, but once again, the Q healing will bring him back up. Not a big deal.
Megazero are either going to go for the Tabir Bramble Vest first item here, as we see the Taunt land as well as the Charm. Kaze getting the bigger end of that trade, which is very nice to see from the Galio. Aftershock is broken, as it were. That said, you know, I almost wanted to see, you know, like a Syndra, just like a hard punish for this Galio pickup. But, like, Ashes of Dreams needs to get the roaming off anyway, so hopefully we'll be able to see some earlier roams from Ashes of Dreams. He's on level 6. Might be able to make things happen top or bot side. He does take the back and grabs the Lost Chapter.
Quick's
towards Dragon.
A little bit not seeming competent on this Alistar so far. That is not the combo that you want to see from your Alistar.
Well, you know what I did want to see? Google changing up their playstyle, and this starts with the early dragon control. They will grab the first dragon this game, which is very, very nice for them. That puts them on the front foot. On the higher scaling comp, they are even in gold going into the later stages of this lightning phase. And if you're even in gold mid-game, as the late game comp, you're doing something right.
And level 6 is coming through for the solo laners now as Quixt.
There's the headshot pulverized. Pyro in trouble here, ignited up, will end up falling. First blood to the Jhin. Fiddlesticks in trouble. Here comes the ult from Vizera, able to shield himself up, and here comes the flash into the pull. Will be a 2-for-1. Scanlong was able to trade something back for that first blood. Still, gold went onto this Jhin and onto this Hecarim, which is good to see if you're an Amazon fan.
Yeah, Google pushing up there without any vision there as Lulu Jinx. There is not a lot you can do if the Alistar gets the damage, or it gets the engage potential down early. Vizera able to come down and follow up on that very, very well here. And just a clean kill there. The extra kill going over Fiddlesticks bought a lot of time, and Scanlong able to clean that up. So a little bit over aggressive there, but still 2 for 1 is not something you're going to be too upset about.
Especially when you're able to get early kills onto your Jhin, because that will help you up against this Jhin, because she reaches her power trough in that mid game. That said, Bramblevest, first time on Mega Zero, was able to win out on trades. Obviously, Counter-Strike, when he's not autoing onto the Ornn, will be able to trade himself, or will be able to heal himself back up. But we're probably going to see Sunfire Cape next item from Mega Zero, at least the Bomby Cinder into the Ninja Tabis. So I already like this Ornn build from Mega Zero. I think it's great, and he'll be able to win trades under tower so long as Vizera does not show himself in that top lane.
Yeah, the early Bramble Vest coming from Mega Zero. Great pickup there, as that is, once again, going to be a lot of what Counter-Strike wants to do. He's going to try and get that triple attack stun off, and that stunts a lot of the healing that Renekton is going to do with that Q afterwards. So really, really good pickup. Gonna allow him to kind of stay alive in this lane and force Counter-Strike to take a bunch of damage in return when he tries to fight.
That said, Vizera, Ashes of Dreams, he does have the Spirit Rush to be used, well as the Onslaught of Shadows, and Ashes of Dreams doesn't even have to burn the stun. 2 Spirit Rushes and he's out. Has a third one if he wants to use it, but still, you know, it's a drive-by gank of the Hecarim. If he gets something, great. If he doesn't, that's fine. He's going to look for bot side next, most likely, after stealing some camps away from this set. And Vizera, despite the fact that he hasn't had as much early pressure as he did last game, is still making his presence known just by constantly invading onto Scanlong and taking his Raptors.
Yeah, but I think it is worth noting that the ultimate was used on Vizera.
Ashes of Dreams, though, flashes.
He's just constantly going for these ganks mid, using everything every time. It is just, Ashes of Dreams is just getting really tilted at this point. You have to be, when there is, every time you move up, just Hecarim comes from that side of the map, it just comes around and hits you and runs away.
It's a drive-by centaur, undead centaur. Is he undead? I'm not sure. Quicks with the headbutt to keep Scanlong away from that mid lane. They drop the early Herald here. I quite like this. They will be able to get all the plates on that tower. Going over to the Galio and the Hecarim. That gold on the Hecarim early is really nice, especially as he needs to get to that Triforce power spike as soon as possible. Mega Zero, though, trouble up against Counter-Spike. Or Counter-Strike, I should say. Pop the Dominus, but no ult, no flash out of Mega Zero.
Yeah, and this is definitely a much slower paced game, which I think works out a bit in the favor of Google, as they are going to scale up really well, and they don't want to take these early skirmishes. That is where the Renekton and the Hecarim excel. That is where the Galio excels. It is all about just getting this Jinx off the ground, allowing for Ahri to come in on those skirmishes. I think they would have loved to have gotten a little bit more out of the Ahri, but you're still taking this if you are Google.
Kaze lands a taunt on the Ashes of Dreams, but if you notice, Kaze's not getting the knock up into the taunt. And if you don't land both of those into your Q auto attack, you just don't get the full damage on the combo. And Ahri's totally fine with that, right? Obviously, she scales better than Galio. Or she still falls off mid lane, but not as hard. Or not mid game. Falls off late, but not as hard. And if Ahri's getting the better end of the trades, more power to her. Vizera once again camping, ends up taking the Onslaught of Shadows. Quicks is here, and Ashes of Dreams finally falls. That's 3 ganks, 1 finally turns up Vizera. And he's still on 100% KP this game. Last game, he ended up losing 100% KP late, but they do have priority towards this Mountain Dragon, and they will be able to grab it. Scanlong has that slash, though. There's no way they're going for this. Yeah. And will be the Infernal Soul this game.
Infernal Soul. So that is actually a bit more favorable on the side of Amazon. Getting Infernal Soul for the Renekton, the Hecarim, even the Galio would love to have it there.
And the Jhin.
Jin actually does not care for it.
Really? Wouldn't bouncing grenade be like super broken with it though?
So the way that it works actually, well, I'm more speaking from the percent increase of damage. It actually, because of the way Jin's damage is calculated, the percent damage increase is actually less great than it would be for other characters.
Gotcha. Look, he's always got to be different because a 4-hit passive instead of a 3-hit passive, you know. Gets his damage calculated differently. Calls curtains on everybody. Like, what is this? What is this? Musical theater? No. I bet pulverized on a fiddle stakes. He will end up popping the wild growth. Damage coming in from Pyro though. Quicks has the ulti. He does use it. Support ultimate's down, but no dice as far as kills are concerned. Mid lane tower though, very low, and Ashes of Dreams has to be very careful about Kaze. And Dezera will be spotted on a ward. Now, what do you call it when Raptors end up going into the mid lane and they're no longer in their pit? Free range chickens.
Was I supposed to be enraptured by your joke?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, well, I wasn't.
You were supposed to be very smitten with it. Much like these junglers are with neutral objectives.
That one was a stretch.
Oh, come on. Come on, man. That's like, come on. That was a good one. That was a good one. At least give me that one.
Top lane looks like it's going to have some action there, actually.
Flash out of the way, though. Quicks is here with a headbutt pulverize. Ashes the Dreams makes his way away. Counter-strike. Just doing things in the top lane.
Just doing Renekton things.
Doing Renekton things. Doesn't play Valorant, as you can tell by his name. But, if he did, who would he main?
I have no idea. I don't know the guy.
But, like, just by the champions he plays, you know? I'm thinking Jet.
I mean, probably.
Mega Zero, though, probably a Viper main. Lots of utility on that man.
Yeah,
This
now
will
it
be
looks
the
like
tower
first
going
tower will go through actually and get a little bit of gold here as you see a 5k gold advantage just quietly coming through farm, especially in this jungle. This set is much further behind this Hecarim, as looked like it was going to be the Rift Herald fought over, but they decided to come back down to this bot side here and might be a dive onto the Jinx.
Well, in fact, it is Headbutt Pulverize. 1, 2, 3 shots of the Curtain Call to pick up the kill. Fourth one, not going anywhere. Jin is Sag, but still happy to pick up the kill. Has himself a 2-0-1 advantage, and honestly, this feels like a much more concise game from Amazon Stock Diff, as they have a much more easy to use early game lead. At the moment, Zera now forcing the flash out of Fiddlesticks, now going to flash forward himself. He's going to be exhausted up. Here comes the Spirit Rush as Quicks was ignited up, but he will stay alive.
Yeah, Quick's flashing and not hitting anybody with that pulverize there. Once again, look at a little bit not ideal on this Alistar here, but still able to come up, get some kills through all of this. And yeah, it is a quieter lead, which I think actually works out because you're taking easy wins. You're doing things that are guaranteed wins for you with little access to advantages to the other team. I'm a little bit questioning the Jinx bot lane flash there earlier, as I think your best bet was to just try and outplay under tower, but Pyro will be just trying to farm back up. Is a little bit more behind than he was in the last game against this Jhin, which could come to bite them in this Infernal Dragon fight.
See Quicks getting pulled in by the face breakers. You see Mega Zero and Counter Strike just trading it out in the top lane. He is on level 12, so one away from getting his Sunfire Cape to ornament status. Will be late to that Abyssal Mask as he did build the early Bramble Vest. You see the TP coming in. Pyro will be knocked back, taunted up. Pyro gonna pop the Wild Growth, will end up falling as Vizera. He'll be able to pick up another one. Call the Forge God will be channeled. That will be Dragon going over to Scanlong. He gets a 2-man pull in, but he will end up falling regardless as Mega Zero flashes out of the pit. Taunt lands on to Ashes of Dreams, and his dreams are ashes. As that will be a 4-4-0 in favor of Amazon stock diff, and a very quiet lead turns into a much more loud one as the Rift Herald will be spawned mid lane, pushing in, killing the T2 tower, and also this T1 pre 20 minutes.
This is
G2 versus TM1 flashbacks.
Yeah, this is very much a stronger win looking to come through from Amazon there as they just clean up that dragon fight. There is just not enough damage or tankiness coming through yet. Ornn, not level 13, does not have the upgraded items yet, so he is still a little bit weak right now. And Jinx sitting on just that Infinity Edge to the Stormrazor Zeal on the Jhin makes that fight just so favored for Amazon as they clean it up, get that Infernal Dragon, and come through with just a... Now it is a 7k gold lead as I try to do math in my head.
It's all right. I can't do mental math either. It's just how it is. Regardless, 2 items to 1 in favor of the Jhin here. Has a rapid fire cannon spike. Jinx nowhere close to that item as she is 1,500 gold down. So this will be a late rune on Hurricane. And the later you delay the Jinx, the more in favor this game goes. For Amazon stock diff, called Forge God will be channeled. Muji will flash out of the way. Quicks is here. That's 2 ultimates used for flash. Fiddlesticks is also here. Quicks with the save keeps Counter-Strike from being countered himself. Molten Edge will show up on to the Jinx shortly, though, as Mega Zero is level 13. Lost count over the wall from the Zera. Onslaught of Shadows on the Pyro, as we do see the hero's entrance get the knock up, and Pyro follows the Zera on a killing spree for 1 and 3 on this Hecarim. Making himself look like the series MVP already. Game 2 has not ended yet, but this one does not seem nearly as close as it was in Game 1 at this point, despite the gold lead being similar.
I think the biggest thing, though, is just this Jinx is 0-4 right now. This Ari 0-3, and that is the only damage you have on this team. If those two are not off the ground, you are just stuck in a situation where you have no ability to burn through this Alistar and Galio. Not even the Hecarim will be burned through, and it is just seeding things for nothing as opposed to the previous game where they were at least getting things in return every time Amazon made something happen.
Yeah, and this is just absolute bleeding from Google right now. Kinda sucks. Last game I was like super hyped for them, but at the moment it's just like, how do they even get back into this game? Headbutt Pulverize hits, and here comes the Hecarim, bringing them back out from under towers. We see Scanlong falling around anyways in the jungle. It's 3-for-0 across the map for Amazon stock diff, and they're making it look like jungle diff this game, as this Vizera pick on the Hecarim once again carrying them through this early to mid game, sitting on 12 out of 13 KP. Sorry, 10 out of 13 KP. I can do math.
Yeah, and this will be just an easy Baron coming through, as Amazon look to have righted the mistakes that they made in the last game and are just absolutely steamrolling this game. Quicks needs to be a little bit careful.
Very nearly. Just doesn't do the damage.
Yeah, well, it missed him just by an inch as the explosion hit.
Yeah, but once again, like, Vizera is making it look more like, you know, They like this series at the moment, like, once again, both early games, Vizera has just been monstrous for this team. And this isn't even like a slight to Scanlong. It's just Vizera seems to always know where the right place to be He's played this early game slower than he did last time, but that doesn't discount the amount of pressure that he's had on Scanlong this entire game. He's 4 levels up. 4 levels on Scanlong. Ashes of Dreams gonna be caught out.
Oh no.
Spirit Rush, but still gets rooted up and gets yeeted out of the way by Vizera on a rampage. That will be the Infernal Dragon and Soul Point. Going over to the Amazon stock Diff squad if they choose, but they will push mid and bot lane respectively as Akaze gets polymorphed up by the Lulu. This will be at least a tower inhib going over to Amazon stop Diff as Kaze was unable to get yeeted. Bot tower down, that'll be bot inhib as well. And Google, unfortunately, just not having the fire they had last game. Instead, it's the Amazon fire that's reigning supreme here.
You could say it went from a small kindle to a large flame.
I ain't flaming anyone, though. Called Forge God into the knockup. Kaze, though, makes the perfect flash over the wall. That's so difficult, but gets yeeted by the Super Mega Death Rocket anyway. That is a pick. Google doubled their kills this game. Now they're looking for Counter-Strike as the Dragon goes over to the Hecarim. Counter-Strike will flash away. That is a kill onto the Galio. That is damage onto the Jinx as she does now have the Molten Edge. But this might be too little too late for the Google squad.
Yeah, it is not looking good. That is your ideal situation, though. Like, you want to get those kills onto the Jinx. You want to upgrade her items. You want to get her as big as possible, as quickly as possible, because that is the only way that you're going to really come back into this game. As you can see, just no vision available for Google, and Amazon just have wards everywhere.
Yeah, if we take a look at the vision map right now. Hold on, that was the wrong one. Red side vision lights up the entire of the east side of Google working from home. As Google working from home has one invasive ward on that one just despawned. So Google laying in the dark right now. Amazon stock Diff really stretching that one at the moment. His gold lead stretching as far as it can. Best stance completed on Counter-Strike, as well as the Tiamat to go into Titanic Hydra this game. Completed Abyssal Mask for Mega Zero.
Yeah, and right now it is just similar to our last game, but a good 20 minutes earlier. Google just trying to stall out the game as much as possible, but it is a much different series of events here as things are just so dire right now for Google.
Would you say it's a series of unfortunate events for Google?
Possibly.
I didn't even read those books as a kid.
I actually owned all of them.
I mean, fair enough. I was more a Percy Jackson reader when I was younger.
It was a very good series, especially like as a growing up kid where he taught you what a lot of words meant in this kind of like overly like dry tone of like kind of making fun of how ridiculous the word is. Very good.
Definitely. I mean, Lemony Snicket is a very accomplished writer in that regard. Although, once again, I was a Percy Jackson kid. I was like, Percy Jackson got me into Greek mythology. Started reading the Iliad when I was in middle school. Good times, good times. Call of Forge God will be channeled here. Set gonna get a nice showstopper as Ashes of Dreams goes in with the Spirit Rush, but there is no damage on the side of Google. Spirit Rush over the wall. They're gonna try to find his way onto Muji, but he's going to get the damage onto Scanlong. Scanlong's down. Ari the next one. Double kill for the Jin. As the Ornn just can't tank up enough damage, takes the blast cone over the wall to stay alive. That is 2 for 0 in favor of Amazon stock Diff. Quicks now going in. Here comes the hero's entrance, gets the knockup. Counter-Strike on a killing spree as the curtains get called on this game. It's 3-0, and they're looking for the end. Ornn going to get the knock up on a Vizera. The Alistar will fall. The taunt lands, though, on a Mega Zero. He's able to tank up most of this damage as Vizera tries to get the damage onto the towers. He tanks up both tower shots. That's one tower down. Counter-Strike, though, with the damage. Gets another one. Polymorph on a Counter-Strike. There goes Vizera. He dies, but it doesn't matter as they're able to get the ace anyway. The set respawns, and that is all she wrote. Amazon stock Diff with the 2-0. Game number 1, very close. This one, not even close.
Yeah, Amazon taking everything they learned from the first game and just evolving into this uncontrollable beast that has just completely taken over the second game and making it look not even close. Vizera popping off in both games, and just after barely scraping through and making it seem like this was going to be a close series, Amazon says, no deal, we are closing this out now, and we are the better team.
Yeah, and honestly, that game number 1, knife's edge here. This game, just constant tempo pushes from Amazon. What we wanted to see in that last game, we got this game, and it comes from Vizera. I think is the MVP. What do you think?
I would agree with that. I don't think there's really any way you could put it in any other way. Vizera making the early game of both games just absolutely powerful and just putting his team in the opportunity to win.
Yeah, there is just so much that Vizera did both these games. Obviously, the Camille pickup ended up being, what ended up winning for Amazon Stock Diff game number 1, but it was the Hecarim that got that Camille ahead. This game number 2 ended up getting all of his team ahead, specifically this Jhin pickup with that early gank bot side. Just absolutely dominant play from Viz in this jungle pickup. We're going to try to get him in for an interview in a little bit, but do you have anything more to say about this game? It was pretty cut and dry in my mind.
Yeah, I think really just Amazon learned from their first game, did not make the same mistakes. They didn't allow for other things to open up that Google could take in response to what they did, and that showed by the scoreline there. So just really, really well done.
Yeah, all that being said, though, we're going to take a quick break as we try to get Viz in here, or Vizera, as I should say, in here for a post-match interview. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the Corporate Esports Association. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association Week 6 2-0 for Amazon stock Diff over Google working from home. I'm PhiNick, joined on the desk today by Thousand Eyes, and we have with us the team captain and MVP of that match for Amazon stock Diff, Vizera. How are you doing after that 2-0 victory?
Doing pretty well. Game was a little shaky, admittedly. I'm sure you all on the desk felt the same way with the back and forth, so plenty to kind of dissect there. But overall, really happy with my team's performance. Great games played by Google. Big shout outs to them for really pushing us that first game for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, that game number one, at least from our perspective, was an absolute banger of a back and forth. That early game, though, you were up to 100% kill participation until basically the very end, though. How did it feel to like you were going super ham there, and then all of a sudden things just stopped kind of pressuring? Like, what happened there on your side?
I think it was primarily a result of poor communication in terms of intentions. I'll be honest, like game one is a bit of a blur for me now. So much happened, but there was a moment where I think we got TP'd on by the Maokai, like right outside the Baron pit, and our Jhin kind of was walking back and forth, and like that was like an example of our team hesitating on how to react accordingly. So I think that's kind of what plagued us towards that latter half of the game. Was we had a general idea of how we wanted to execute, but we were unable to correctly communicate all of our intentions. So going to the drawing board for the next couple of weeks is something that we're going to be looking to practice on a bit further, for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like going into game two, when we saw you guys, literally the first half of the draft was exactly the same up until that Alistar pick. What was kind of like going through your guys' brains as you were like, well, are we just going to go with the same comp even though we barely won the first game?
Yeah, the classic salty run back, right?
Yeah.
We felt like the first game, at least for like the first 20 minutes, I think we had like a 8K gold lead or something. Like we knew that game was only rough because we misplayed for the most part. Credit to Google, like they certainly did great job punishing us at certain moments, but I felt like for the majority of at least the first half of the game one, we were in pretty much control and we just let it slip away. So we had no issues across the board. Basically running a similar, if not the exact same comp. The Alistar was a bit of a kind of tech that we decided might be more helpful for us in team fights where we can have a bit more of a durable front line to give the Jhin time to kite out. But other than that, we felt very confident that we could run it back. And I think game two is kind of a very clear demonstration of what game one should have looked like if we didn't make a few mistakes.
Yeah, and there was a lot less room for mistakes in that game too. Like you guys picked Renekton, where previous game you picked Camille, and so you guys had no late game scaling at all. Well, comparatively no late game scaling. Obviously, Jhin scales decently well late. And Thousand and I were discussing going through the draft. This is a much more you have to execute on the early game, and it looks like you guys were able to do that. That said, I didn't see as many ganks coming from you in that second game, but you were able to punish well in the set. So kind of walk me through kind of how the jungle pathing changed between the two games for you.
Yeah, so I think the key change is the mid lane and the bot lane matchup, because those were the changes in the champion picks, right? Viger versus Ahri into Galio is a different matchup, and Jinx Lulu versus Jhin Nautilus versus Jhin Alistar, also different matchup. So real quick, basically the net is there's a lot less kill pressure on our bot end because Nautilus doesn't have a hook, or excuse me, Alistar doesn't have a hook level 1, so you can't really pressure them in that sense, and you kind of have to graciously give priority away until your Alistar unlocks his full combo, right? Similarly, in the mid lane, Ahri can push a lot harder early on than a Viger can. So that's kind of the rationale kind of behind my jungle pathing changes, where I focus a lot more on like a farm heavy style, just because I knew we're not going to have prio early in these lanes. I'd rather give them the opportunity to kind of unlock their full skill sets, right? The Galio level 5 is a lot more durable and a lot more useful in a skirmish than an Ahri is. The Alistar level 5, again, similarly in that boat. So that was kind of the thinking. We gave up the first dragon pretty, graciously. Like we knew they were taking that first dragon. We're like, yeah, this is fine. Not a problem. We're going to unlock our power around the level 5 to 6 mark. And then from there, we're going to take every crab. We're going to fight for every herald because we're always going to have priority. And it's going to be great. And that's kind of like the logic there.
I see. I mean, honestly, like it worked out very well for you. I saw you constantly invading on that scuttle crab, or not the scuttle crab, sorry, the raptor pit. Like 3 or 4 times you stole that away in the early game on the set, and honestly, they just could not punish you there, or they chose not to. The first couple times we thought they were, and then they didn't. So really well done on the pathing there. That was absolutely excellent, and your rationale is honestly very nice. Thousand,
Yeah.
you may.
I actually wanted to ask too, in game 2, there was just a lot of mid camp. Just every time we kind of looked, you were just driving by mid lane, trying to just pressure the Ahri, just mostly coming from the opposing side jungle, and just drive by, gank, back, buy items. Was that just did it just work out that way, or was that like an intended strategy to just constantly put pressure on mid?
So, hot take: Ahri does not have a Viger cage, which makes a Hecarim player like me extremely happy. So I can't say, going into the game, my thought process was, yeah, I'm gonna gank Ahri every 2 minutes. I'll admit it kind of laid out that way, which was really nice with my pathing, where I'm constantly watching my lanes and I'm constantly watching the map. And so if I'm counter jungling Raptors and I know my Raptor camp is spawning, I'm gonna go for the drive-by gank. Worst case scenario, I trade some HP with Ahri, but that's fine, dude. I'm Hecarim in my jungle. I'm power clearing. I don't really lose much for that. Meanwhile, the Ahri, maybe she loses a flash. Maybe she loses an ult. That's so much pressure they need to rely on to control that mid lane. And, after I think the second gank or something, that was pretty much it. Like, we had full mid prio after that, which allowed me to go super aggro for the Herald, super aggro for the Crab. So to answer your question, it wasn't something I thought of, going into the game, but it was kind of an adaptation that I noticed, like, oh, this can be a good avenue to kind of accelerate the pace of the game.
Yeah, and CEA is a good avenue to promote your charity. So if you may, please. I killed 1,000. I killed 1,000. Yeah, this side of me. All right. But so tell us a little bit about your charity, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I know you said that you've had direct positive impact on your extended family through them. Can you tell us a little bit about your charity and your personal stories with them?
Sure. Maybe not to delve too much into the personal, but effectively, St. Jude Cancer Research is like a tremendous organization. 2 of my family members have actually worked there. One is a contractor, one is an actual employee. So already that's kind of like some connection to it. And then the other component is just, I guess you would call it a second cousin of mine, was born and raised basically in the hospital because he suffered from a case of leukemia at a very young age, and to this day is still suffering. But, thanks to the treatments through St. Jude and through all the support that he has received, he's been able to live a life that without them may not have been possible. So, to that end, I am entirely grateful. And so I figured it would be a great opportunity to diverge some funds, as minuscule as they may be, to their end, because I think the work they do is very important, and I'm very grateful for them. So any money can help, truly.
Thank you for sharing that. That is very generous of you to share that with us. 1,000.
I don't really have too many other questions. I've pretty much hit everything that I had.
Okay, in that case, one more question. So, as you told us, back in Season 1 of CEA, your top laner was Mega Zero. Now Mega Zero playing on the Google side, how was it like going up against your former teammate? Do you guys still talk outside of CEA? What's that dynamic like? And will there be much gloating after this match towards Mega Zero?
I mean, regardless of who wins, there's guaranteed that we're going to meme each other to death, no matter what happens. We're good friends. Like, I get dinner at his place like every other week. So, no, he's a fantastic player. I would love to play with him again, but I kind of make the analogy that Google is like the New York Yankees of CEA, because they constantly buy Amazon's top laners away from us. They've done it with Mega Zero. They've done it with Transpiercer. So, I gotta keep like a close eye on Counter-Strike and say like, nah, dude, Amazon stock is so good. You don't want to go to Google. Like, don't worry about that. So, no, Google played their hearts out. They were fantastic. They're gonna get far into the season, and I can't wait to play them. Maybe in a best of 5 at the end of the season. I think that would be super exciting if the games are like this back and forth like that. I think that'd be awesome. And they're gonna get better. We're gonna get better. And I'm excited to see like what kind of a show we can put on.
Yeah, and once again, like, game number 1 was such a great show. Game number 2, great showing from you guys. Obviously, it was more of a stomp, but like, to me, that was just perfectly executed from you guys, and so much of that, I think, was on your back and how well you played on the Hack Room. So once again, you're a series MVP here. Do you have anything you would like to say to the audience, other CEA participants, etc., before we end today's broadcast?
Just appreciate all the support. Shout outs to you two for making all these casts exciting for us. This is the first real season that we're consistently casting games, not just like in the playoffs. And I know that there's like definitely like a learning process and things we can improve upon. But just as like a CEA organizer for Amazon in general, I just want to thank you both so much. I think the energy you pour into this community really helps kind of create excitement and build these bonds that a lot of people might be looking for in terms of joining like an inter-company league. So thank you both so much. Thank you everyone to watch the stream today. I hope you enjoyed the games. I'm open to any questions if anyone has anything. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us as well. That said, everyone here at CEA, I should say, league staff, production crew, everyone in between, my name is PhiNick.
My name is Thousand Eyes.
And we will see you next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.